Welcome to Lesson 11, Adding Decimals. The one thing you have to keep in mind when you add decimals is that you're going to follow the exact same steps as when you add large numbers together. The only key thing to keep in mind is to line up the decimal points. So you can see that's already been done for you in this question, 49.38 plus 22.15. So we're going to start on the right side. We're going to add 8 plus 5. That gets us 13. We carry the 1 over. 1 plus 3 plus 1 makes 5. Our decimal point goes right here, so it stays lined up. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry the 1. 4 plus 2 plus 1 makes 7. So our answer is $71.53 if this were a money question. If I want to, I can estimate just to double check that my answer is reasonable. So I would round to the nearest whole number, and 49 plus 22 would make 71. So since my answer is very close to my estimate, I can rest assured that my answer is probably correct. If these two numbers were off by quite a lot from each other, then I would know that I made a mistake somewhere, either in calculating the real answer or in calculating the estimate. Why don't you go ahead and try this example. First thing you're going to have to do is line up your numbers one on top of the other. Be sure to line up your decimal points. That's the key thing. Your decimal points must line up. So go ahead and try this question, and when you're ready, come back and see how you did. You might be tempted to line up your numbers like this, but this would be incorrect because the decimal points are not lined up. So please do not make this mistake. This is the correct way to line up the two numbers with the decimal points one on top of the other. When you add, it doesn't matter which number goes on top. You could have put the 2.358 on top if you wanted to, but the decimal points nonetheless have to be lined up. Remember that after the decimal I can add zeros, so I can add zeros here if that'll make me feel better. And now I can go ahead and add. 0 plus 8 makes 8, 0 plus 5 makes 5, 9 plus 3 makes 12. I'm going to put my decimal point here so it's lined up, carry the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 2 makes 7, and then I will simply put the 2 and the 3. If I want to use estimation just to check if my answer is reasonable, I'll round to the nearest whole number, so 324.9 is about 325, and 2.358 is about 2, so 325 plus 2 I know is 327, and it looks like these two numbers are very close. So that just reassures me that I probably did this question correctly. All right, let's try one more example. This time we're going to have 3 different numbers that we're adding up. Remember to line up your decimal points when you line up your numbers. Doesn't matter which order you write them in, but that is a key. So please go ahead and do that. Pause the video, come back when you have an answer. All right, I've got my numbers lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I can add in some zeros here just to make sure everything is lined up correctly. Remember, I can do that after the decimal point. So here I have a 1. 9 plus 2 makes 11. I carry the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 5 also makes 11. Here's my decimal point. 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 3 makes 20. There's the 0, I carry the 2. 2 plus 8 makes 18. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 makes 5. I've also estimated just to make sure my numbers are reasonable, and when I've done that, I see that they are very, very close, and so I have answered my question correctly. So in this lesson, you have learned how to add decimals. You've learned that when you add numbers with decimals, that the most important thing to remember is to line up the decimal points together and then your answer will also have a decimal point that lines up with the decimal points in the question. You've also learned how to use estimation as a strategy just to double check if your answer is reasonable. If the estimate and the real answer were way off, then you know you made a mistake somewhere and you'd have to go back and check. So have fun adding decimals. I've only showed you one strategy here today, but you may use other ones that work if you prefer them to this strategy. So have fun with adding decimals.